still together? Are we still together? Hey,
Yes,
can you hear
yeah.
me?
Yes.
Yes, you're smiling all through, and I think I'm only seeing the only of this. So I want to get some feedback in the chat session. Are we together? Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Gladys, and everyone. Right. So there's a phenomenon now called learning poverty, and it's a very worrisome statistic in Nigeria, as a country, and even in the African continent, that there is deficiency in reading, in writing, and in reading, writing, understanding, and in doing maths, basic maths. Shockingly, when I checked today, 70% of Nigerian children fall under that category. Keep that on one hand and keep that within the frame of the increased decline in attention span and value for knowledge, right? Many persons are beginning to have their attention span reduced. That's why an average Facebook content must be too engaging or too short to get an average Gen Z to read it, right? So someone was asking me if I have a 25-page book as one of my books to be able to give him to read, because he cannot have that patience to be able to fellowship with wisdom for 2 hours, 3 hours plus, right? So since there is that learning poverty and there is that decline, it means that our generation is postured to be far from the exposure that will foster metamorphosis. So the farther we are from information, documented wisdom, knowledge, the farther we are from development and the farther we are from becoming. You see, that chain for me is something that should worry us, and that's why conferences like these are the best place to keep. Because it is two clauses, and I'm going to just share that briefly. The two clauses here is to know what to do and then to do what you know. I'll say that again. To know what to do and then you do what you know. And my friend, the amazing Lendon, will be here to share on that part. So the reason why majority of people are not doing is because they don't know to do. And as I advance in the line of work I do as a brand consultant and also a reading experience coach, I can guarantee you and I can tell you that I have met people who simply are bigger, right? In reputation than in character, you understand? In packaging than in actual depth, right? So everyone in this call, my solemn charge to you is that you say you can, and that when you can, you must, right? So if you say you can make shoes, then you should truly be able to make shoes, right? You should build capacity to make shoes so that when you are presented with the materials to make shoes, you can actually make shoes. Stray bullet is hitting for you, right? If you say you are a writer, right, it means when I present you a pen or I give you a notepad or I give you a keypad, it means your ability to create content to be a reflection of your knowledge. It's not just your fellowship with wisdom, but that fellowship with wisdom must be able to be applicable and practicable, right, for it to be appreciated. So for me, all of this frames into the fact that we cannot truly find our fullness, experience personal growth and transformation if we don't begin to do what I call repetition of basics, right? We don't advance necessarily in this season by the learning of new things, right? It is the repetition of basics, So our fathers, the generations before us, fellowship with knowledge, right? If you truly want to become exceptional, you will be able to make it habitual to also fellowship with knowledge. I invest a lot of my time reading books, cutting across different genres, right? The book I just read is my 160th book of the year. I keep a read list intentionally because of what I do. And the reason I read is because I feel as a person obligated to not afford, right? To not be presented with a problem and cannot afford a solution, right? Those I lead, those who, basics, right? Those I lead, right? Those who trust me for solutions. I cannot afford to not have their solutions. So the multiplicity of information I fellowship with postures me as an authority structure, postures me as a solution giver. You see, that is the motivation to which I source for information, right? And I'm going to share just a few things with us because we live in a time where there is a lot of emphasis on results, right? But I have seen that result, that emphasis on result bets an excitement, right? Everyone seems to be very excited when it comes to the idea of results, right? When $1 million is at stake, everyone jumps at it. And that's why an average student has lost his money in crypto, right? At the time, because when they Google how much crypto as an industry garners, right, there is that excitement. But I have found out that that excitement must marry commensurate efforts to produce results. I'll say that again. That excitement, that wow, whoa, must marry a commensurate effort to produce results. That effort is the intentional development, intentional cultivation, right? Fellowshipping with the right information, aligning with the forces that be to be able to posture you as one who knows to do and can actually do. Until you are able to reach that point, you will discover that the desire for results will not produce results, right? Results are not functions of desires. They respond to actions, intentional actions. And like the KAP domains I taught us earlier, the precursor for action is knowledge, right? The precursor for action is always knowledge. If you know to do, you will do what you know. If you know to do, you will naturally do what you know. And for me, that's a huge point. Let me also say that development is a converter, right? Development is a converter. And one of the things I've learned is that it converts latent gifts to profitable skills. I'm certain by the time I was born, one of the things God armed me with was utterance, right? I was born an extroverted figure. Leadership has made me introverted, but I was born a talker, right? I used to ask the difficult questions even when I was much younger, but it wasn't profitable. So what has moved my ability to talk to a high profiting skill today is development. I have trained to be a public speaker. Right? I have invested time, money, resources, travels, and stress to be able to hone this gift to become a profitable skill. So development is a converter, and what it first converts is that it converts latent gift things into profitable skills. I always say that nobody will pay your gift. They would only pay a gift that has become a skill. And a skill is simply a gift that has undergone cultivation, that has undergone development. So a skill is a developed gift, a developed ability that has undergone refinement, training, intentional development, so that it becomes profitable, right? You sell it when it is at a skill level. Let me also say that it converts timid hearts into confident high flyers, right? Development would convert a timid heart into a confident high flyer. As extroverted as I was as a kid, one of the things I found out was I didn't have the energy to be controversial, right? So I agreed with people the most. And you are not ready to be an exceptional leader if you are not willing to be controversial. I can say that anywhere, right? Forget being a person of impact if you don't want to hurt anybody. Because I don't mean physical hurt. There is that ideological battle that the world is perpetually undergoing. The establishment of a truth, the establishment of another. If I say Faye is dark and Faye says she's fair, we're already at an ideological war. So it means constantly that if you truly want to make a mark, you must be able to dehoist a truth and hoist another truth. One of the games I loved to play as a young child was Freedom Fighters. And it taught me a very vital lesson. At the end of the game, when you clinch victory, the sign that you have won is that you dehoist the Chinese flag and hoist the American flag. That is how they know you've won, right? So that taught me a very foundational lesson that in establishing truth, you must first dehoist a school of thought. because that school of thought you are dehoisted was also hoisted by somebody. So it means that you are naturally at loggerhead with what you don't believe in. And so the reason I can confidently establish my own line of thought, right, with confidence is because I have developed, I have been able to put the things I know through tests. I got up in 2019 and said I was going to lead 1 million Africans to read 50 plus books every year. We are 4 years deep into it. The current cohort sees nearly 480 persons now across 12 nations of the world, right? Because I was crazy enough to believe that Africans can read. Someone got up and said, if you want to hide information from a black man, put it in a book. I live to disrupt that. In fact, the reason why I'm alive now is to break that table. It's that serious because every day I am seeing Africans who are reading, who are making the most out of books, who have seen books as a critical success weapon and are deploying it just like Samson's jawbone. Right. So in all honesty, right, in all honesty, I can say to us that the reason why I feel confident to be able to establish my own truth, why that timid heart can now be a confident high flyer, is simply because I passed through the process of development. Right. And then I'm going to share on the idea for that it's what helps a discovered purpose to arrive at the corridors where it can be deployed. Right. It is exciting to find purpose. Right. It is exciting. It is beautiful that the directions for your life, your essence for existence is channeled. Right. But I would define it this way so that you'll be able to understand and see the relationship between purpose, potential, and destiny. So let's call purpose a leadership conference in Sokoto. Right. So FEI is to attend a leadership conference in Sokoto. So the leadership conference in Sokoto is the purpose for our travel. Right. Sokoto is destiny, destination. Right. The flight to Sokoto is potentials. So the tools for which we maximize purpose is what we call potentials. Right. God is too strategic a God to invest anything in you for waste. And God is such a wise transactor that he would send you to this world empty. Right. So that deposit of God that helps us for the actualization of purpose is our potentials. Right. So if you realize that, you would then know that the effectiveness of your purpose is directly proportional to the cultivation of your potentials. And once you miss that, you discover you can know purpose and not fulfill purpose. It's a crazy place to be, right? In fact, it's the best place of regrets that you sometimes somebody asked me on an interview recently that what is my greatest fear in life? And I simply said that after all of this, after the possibilities of my life, after all I've known, after all I've seen, after all I'm still knowing, and then I do not fulfill a jot or a tittle of my purpose, or I leave it unfulfilled necessarily, right? It is an indictment on me and of course the giver of the essence of life. So those are critical stuff I want us to look at. So I'll just share a few things on how we can be able to deploy. And let me start from the concept of discipline, right? I don't think where we are at as a people is the absence of information. No. There is the multiplicity of information on the landscape. For every subject matter, I checked recently, there are about 11 books to read. That's an amazing statistic. 11 documented books on every subject matter. When I saw it, it blew my head off, right? So you can imagine, it means there is superfluous availability of wisdom. The Holy Book says that the knowledge of the glory of the Lord shall fill the earth as the waters cover the sea. I think that prophecy has been fulfilled, right? There's so much knowledge everywhere. In more Yoruba context or parlance, we say Opo, right? There's there's so much knowledge everywhere. So I don't think the problem with our generation is the absence of information. I don't think so. I think it's discipline, the fortitude to see things through, right? The fortitude to stay at it, right? The fortitude to intentionally arrive at. And I'm not teaching a self-discipline class, but let me share what I believe and how I put the concept of discipline. And it's from two places. There is the restraint dimension, and there's a commitment dimension to discipline. The restraint dimension of discipline says not to do. And many of us can dwell there for long. So it's what is guided by our value systems, our faiths, our belief systems, and all of that. So it means you cannot steal. That's the restraint dimension to discipline, right? You cannot do certain things, the restraint dimension to discipline. However, there is a discipline that pushes you to do and stay at it. It is the commitment dimension. And so until we're able to do a measure, a mashup between the restraint dimension and the commitment dimension and actually do it within the context of time, because the relevance has a labor component and a time component. What that means is you don't just have to do things well, you have to do it long. So that sustainability clause, so that excellence marries sustainability to produce sustained relevance, is what is going to be a critical success factor going forward. So a generation must brace up to the fact that it is not just enough to do things well. It is not in the hit and run. It is in the hit and stay, right? The fortitude to stay at it, to ensure that excellence is a non-negotiable, and you are not just willing, right? Yes, you are not just willing, thank you, Faye. You're not just willing to stay, right? You're also willing to stay long. I read, funny enough, recently that 8 out of 10 businesses fail right after the 8-month mark because people jackpot, right? People just disappear. Before you know, once it doesn't work, once plan A works, an average person in this time and age is so uncomfortable and just wants to exit the process. We are not going to arrive at the corridors of success because we tried once. In fact, with all the books I've read, I've not seen anyone who it was that easy for, right? It happened by the commitment to see it through, the commitment to see it through. And it's a bliss. It's a bliss, right? When we eventually click it. The second idea is what I call modeling. And that's mentorship. I would always say that mentorship provides you a picture of your preferred future, right? It shows to you, it's a reflection of your possibilities, right? It reveals to you what you can be and what you are, right? In all honesty. So it's like mirroring your possibilities through the lenses of other persons. It also offers you the privilege to be able to avoid the mistakes of people. I would usually say, please, can I get some engagement? I feel like there's fire here and I'm not feeling the energy from your side. Let me get some engagement, right? I would usually say that life is one beautiful privilege, but it's also very funny. Have you realized that in this life is what you are learning how to live and living at the same time? So you've never lived tomorrow. So you are both living tomorrow and learning how to live tomorrow. And it's crazy. And we have been able to navigate it, right? Because we've found a way around it as human beings, right? And so since we don't have the privilege to live more than once, what life offers us is the privilege to live through the lenses of others. It was Robert Sladin that says, a great man knows how to live in a great way, right? And how to live in a great way is not to live again after you die, is to actually x-ray the life of those who have lived and be able to step out. So key hack to really, really engage the concept of development is in your ability to model people, to look at possibilities. No one says you must be a mirror image, an exact mirror image. You can take your sieve along, right? You know what I mean? You can sieve out the excesses and pick the things you need. But it means that you are gifted a competitive advantage. It means that you have an insight into time, and then upon that, you can be able to navigate your own space very effectively. So let me say to us directly that mentorship is key, right? It's a beautiful privilege. It's a beautiful privilege to both just be able to navigate. It was Dr. Stephen Akinta that was speaking at the Emerging Leaders Conference and said, that employees have the opportunity to make mistakes on other people's money. So when you're an employee, you have the liberty to make mistakes, but on somebody else's money. So let's relate that. Let's relate that to mentorship. Yeah, it's like the fortitude to make mistakes on another person's path, and so you can still find a way around it because you know the intended outcome or the likely outcome. You see, I believe I'm sharing something with someone. So it's key. It's very, very key. You must be able to maximize the concept of modeling. You must be able to switch into it, understand that mentorship is key. I have a mentor for literally everything. If I start another expression today that I don't have mentorship for, I will seek mentorship. I can say confidently that I am not a confused man because of mentorship, right? My life and path has been charted because I stand on the shoulders of great men, right? I see through I perceive to the perceptions of God, to the perceptions of men who have walked this path. And then community. And let me say this very foundationally, everyone needs a community. I believe I am a community builder and manager now because I run Africa's friendliest reading hub, the I Read Hub. The I Read of books, right? Where you are systematically guided in an environment of fun, yeah, in an environment of fun to do the most with books. 50 plus books is beans, right? An average I reader crushes it with ease, right? And of course, if you want to be a part of the hub, you cannot do well to reach out to me. So the idea of community is a support structure. In my book, in one of my books, I have 5 books now. When you read that much, you naturally write. Yeah. So right in one of my second book, I said that fading is easier when you watch others fade. Fading off is easier when those around you fade off. And it's a powerful principle. So it means that when you have a community of high flyers, your tendency of a fall, right, is weaker. I think there's a passage in the great book that says that if when a man stands alone is when he falls, but when he's in a group, if he falls, right? So when you are alone, your fall is a certainty, right? When you are with in a community, your fall is a possibility, right? So it means that you can leverage on the collective strength and energy of people. I believe in the community. As a consultant now, when I speak to heads of organizations, the first thing I say to them is to build a community around it. Beyond having a market, you have a people whose vision they can embody as your vision. In more direct terms, I can say the vision becomes their vision. Your life vision becomes their vision. I'm wondering, you are on this call and certain of your friends are not here. Right? Probably you didn't share it. Right? It means you don't have a community of like minds yet. Because if you feast and fellowship with the sort of people that you are required for your next level, it means you have to drag them into the things that interest you too. So I believe that having that community around you helps to maximize, to hasten your process of development. You can intentionally build, right? Build effectively around the collective energy, collective strength of people. See, I'm excited. I'm excited because a few years ago, 10, 11 years now, I didn't have a clue about what my life would become. In fact, I was telling my mentees recently that I sat in my SS1 class and all I wished for was if only I could write one book, if only. Because just like Faye, my earliest influences were Barack Obama, Miles Monroe, and Les Brown. Those are my earliest influences. I think that explains why I fold my sleeves a lot because they're all folders, right? So those were my earliest influences. And so when I read at 7, 8, 9, 10, I was already deep into Les Brown. Right? In fact, at the point I wanted to speak like him, right? But you've got to be hungry. I was going to do that, yeah? So but all I wished was one day if I could just write one book, That dream did not happen until 2020. Today I've sold over 3,000 copies of that book, well distributed, of course. And today I have 5 books, right? So between 2020 and 2023, I've released 5 books, all doing well in the market. That dream is valid. Can you help me say to somebody in the chat section that your dream is valid? It is subject to development. If you can believe in it. In fact, let me, as I find somewhere to wrap, if you believe in your dream enough, you will invest in it. That's just it. The proof that you are not, a sign that you are not investing in your giftings, in your abilities, in your dreams, is just a reflection of the fact that you don't believe in it. You see, I say to myself always, and I affirm to myself that nations will come for the gift of God on my inside. Nations of the earth, kings, presidents, the ends of the earth will come from far and wide, right, to receive of the bounties of grace that God has deposited on my side. And because I am conscious of that, I don't want to wake up on my morning of manifestation unprepared. And that is why I am madly involved in this business. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been exciting sharing with you, and I look forward to hearing your testimony. But yeah, I'm done. Thank you, guys.
Whoa. Somebody give me that emoji that has that the brain is coming out, because it's hot in here right now. Wow, that was big. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Jonathan. Whoa. Whoa, can you all say thank you to him? Yes, I can see that you are thanking him already. Thank you so much, Coach Jonathan, for that beautiful, beautiful keynote. Woo! The other things I want to say, it's not for this session, so I'll swallow it. Anyway, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. One key thing that I am taking away from this particular session is that I need to fellowship with knowledge. Fellowship with knowledge. Let me hear from you. Let me hear from others. What is that one thing you're taking away from this session? And as you drop that in the comment section, I would also like to let you know that our second speaker for tonight is in the room, and he will be speaking to us on deployment. I'm waiting for one key thing you're taking out from the second session. I'm waiting. Kindly drop them. Now, our third speaker for tonight is already in the room. This man is a wise man. You know, the way we see him in our space is like, okay, our children are going to enjoy being around the wise man. He is wise and is widely read as well. It's speaking to us on deployments majorly because of you will hear that from him. You hear that from him, but he's the co-founder of the Gentle Read Initiative in Just. Okay, so in the next 30 seconds, he will be coming on board and he will take us through deployment, how to make your mark in this world. Now, we've talked about discovery. We said in discovery, one major thing to do to always know what to do part-time, or to always know the best of yourself that you should be doing part-time, is that you need to turn yourself outward. You need to serve. And then in discovery, we have learned that we need to fellowship with knowledge as much as we can. Knowledge in books, knowledge from others, building communities and mentorship, also building discipline. I can see you, Abby. Is that Abby or Abby? Debbie, I can see that you say commitment, dimension of discipline, eat and stay. Gladys says life is a repetition of basics. That's our own take home tonight. Dr. Nen says my life is a reflection of what I know and I do not know. and what I do and do not do. Pamela says repetition is a tool for me to become refined. Beautiful, beautiful one here. Dr. Nen also says that the precursor for action is knowledge. Absolutely. Thank you all so much for taking all of this home from this particular session. So right about now, we would have the chief of reading in Africa currently, Lendon Chava. Please, help me drop some emoji in the comment section so that he would know that you're ready to receive him this night. Over to you, Chief. Are you there? Over to you. I'm asking you to unmute yourself already.
I did not see standing ovation. I'm not going to enter. I'm going to go
please.
back.
Standing ovation for our chief of staff.
I'm clapping already.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Jonathan. Good evening, man. Good evening, people.
Good evening.
Yeah, how are you, man?
Very well. We're in trouble.
I'm telling you.
Take no prisoners. Take no prisoners, sir.
My guy. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. I'm really glad to be here. I'm incredibly I consider it a great privilege to talk at the program of my dear friend Feyi Shayomi. Feyi has been an amazing person. Yeah, her whole life has taught me a lot. Yeah, and she continues to inspire me, and I continue to learn just by watching her and seeing the way she does things, the meticulousness she brings to it, the level of excellence she demands. And then I'm super glad too, yeah, that Jonathan is here. It's important that I say this. I admire Jonathan a lot because he has been able to do the things I've not been able to do. He has been able to organize his life and his mission in a way I have dreamt, I have aspired to, but I've not been able to bring myself to do. So I stand in a way in just of what he has done. It's totally incredible. You see, it's easy to be a fox in life. It's easy to be a someone who just it's easy to be a hedgehog rather, who just go around life, jump from here to here, go randomly. But you see, it's more difficult to be focused, to be one directional, to have one mission, to have a strategy, to have a goal, to have a system for pursuing it. And Jonathan has that. I admire that a lot, a lot. And I hope that those of you who are here and those of you who are watching this from Facebook to Zoom, I hope you can also learn this from the life of Jonathan and from the life of Feyi Shayomi. And yeah, I hope that you're going to see that also from the perspective of how you can use this for your life. You see, life is crazy. Life is dynamic. Life is painful. Life is tragic. Life is beautiful. Life is all of these things. But do you know what? All the people who get to the end of their life, all the people who arrive at the end of their life and they are able to say, I have finished the race. All the people who are able to say, I have seen the mountaintop. I may not get there with you, but we as a people will get there. All the people who reach the end of their life and they're able to say, like a troublesome, like a well-spent tool, a well-spent life brings fulfillment at the end of it. All those people, they had a strategy for living. They had a plan for how they wanted to spend their life. See, you can't achieve greatness by mistake. You can't make an impact by mistake. You can't make a difference by mistake. You can't arrive at the end of life and say your life is fulfilling by mistake. You see, America is the most powerful country in the world, not by coincidence. It is the most powerful country in the world right from its foundation. The man who set the foundation knew it was going to be the most powerful country in the world. Apple is the most profitable company in the world. It's not a mistake. Right from day one, Steve Jobs knew that it was going to be the most profitable company in the whole world. And then the particular person, the particular place I want to talk about today is the Grameen Bank. The Grameen Bank is a bank in Bangladesh. Now, you need to know that Bangladesh, for many years and even today, remains a poor country. And for decades, it was one of the most poorest countries in the whole world. In fact, at its independence, one of the most wisest men in the world, Henry Kissinger, when I say wisest in the terms that he understands the world completely, he called Bangladesh one of the countries that will never develop. He said Bangladesh is a basket case of development. It will go nowhere, it will progress nowhere, and its people will continue to be poor. But you know what? Today, the per capita GDP of Bangladesh is actually higher than Nigeria. Bangladesh has lifted millions of people out of poverty. Today, it has moved into becoming a middle lower income country. It is because of the efforts of several people. And one of those people is Muhammad Yunus, who found the Grameen Bank. Now, you need to know that Muhammad Yunus was born in a family that was just an average family. At a very young age, his mom suffered from mental illness. She was confined to the asylum. In fact, in writing about his mom, he said they formed an acronym for his mom. Each time her episode is about to begin, all the children in the house run away from the house. And they just said something funny, and everyone runs away, and just the father who stays at home, because they have become afraid for what she will do. During this episode, she stones them with several things. She does a lot of efforts that are dangerous to the health of the people, to the health of the family members and all of that. So that's the family he grew up in. But Muhammad Yunus was forced to go to school, and go to school he did. After going to school, he was able to get to the university, and eventually he became a professor. So, but this is what he started doing. He studied economics, but he realized that, he studied economics, but everyone in his village was poor. He studied economics, but the vast classification of Bangladesh was that Bangladesh was a country that was dealing with poverty. How can he study economics? This study of something that is supposed to help you with knowledge that is supposed to use to create wealth, and his country was still poor. It didn't make sense in his head. So he started visiting the villages. He would go through the village, walk through the village, and he was a professor. So people found it utterly ridiculous. How can a professor be going through the village and walking? And he was trekking around the village, asking them questions, listening to what they were doing. And then he began to understand their problems. And one of the things he found out from the beginning was that their problem was that most of them were farmers. But there's one big problem. When farming season comes, they farm, they harvest, and then they sell their things. By the time the next farming season is coming, they're already poor and totally broke. The result of this is that they cannot be able to increase their farm output because the price of fertilizer is increasing, the price of items that they need to farm is increasing. But because they are living from paycheck to paycheck, they cannot be able to scale and lift themselves or their families a bit out of poverty. And he realized what they were looking for was small loans. They were looking for small money, and the money is so small. Like these people, like if you're going to apply it in today's terms, these people are sometimes looking for 10,000, 5,000 naira just so they can be able to get some minor thing that can be able to upscale and change their farming completely. For instance, it is possible they're looking for just 5,000, 10,000 so that they can be able to store their grain, and then so that they can sell it when the price is higher. And when they have the higher money, they can be able to use some of it, save some of it, and then invest in their farm. But you know what's the problem? The banks were not giving them these loans because they didn't have collaterals. They didn't have a means to repay it. And you know the way banks work. If you don't have a collateral, you don't have a means to pay it, they're certainly not going to give you the grant. So what happens is that they have become locked in a cycle of poverty. And then Muhammad Yunus started thinking about this. He said, what if he can be able to go to the bank on their behalf and ask them to grant him the loan, and if they grant him the loan, he's going to come and give it back to them. Well, he went to the bank, talked to the manager. You know what? The manager refused to give him the loan. Now, any of us will have quit at this point because you've tried, you've done your best, you've tried, you've really gone to the bank, you've done more than other people have done. But Muhammad Yunus will not stop. You see, we're talking about a man who had learned all through his life. We're talking about a man who was a professor, a real professor, a man who has absorbed himself in knowledge of the world, in knowledge of poverty, in knowledge of entrepreneurship, in knowledge of what it takes to bring change. And he knew one thing. He knew that change was hard and change was difficult. He knew that development was difficult. He knew that making an impact was difficult. You know what he did? He didn't quit. Rather, he picked his first salary and set up the loan scheme, the first loan. And the first loan that he set out with was a very small amount, a very, very small amount that he set out with. The amount he set out with was $27, which is 27,000 naira. And he borrowed that loan to 42 families. 42 families, that's the families he started with. And when he borrowed that money to those people, he allowed them to use it. He allowed them to farm, to use it on their farm. They increased their farm. And because they were able to increase their farm, they had a lot by the end of harvest season, and they had some that they could be able to save for next year. By the time the next farming season came, they had a lot of money to buy fertilizers, which allowed them to increase their farm output again.
Oh, I think network logged him out. Let's just give him a few minutes to reconnect back. Nigeria will always happen. We're bigger than Nigeria, isn't it? Okay, it's back.
Hello,
All
can you
right.
hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, my network is miserable. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, so they were able to have more money in savings. They were able to increase their farm output, and as though it is a miracle, these people began to have disposable income. And you know what they started doing? Contrary to what the experts have said, experts in development have said that when people have money, when poor people have money, that they use it to buy alcohol, they use it to marry more wives, they use it to give birth to more children. That's not what these people did. You know what they started doing? These people started giving their money to sending their children to school. Yeah. They started giving their money to their children to go to school. And you know what? That wasn't just the end of it. These people began to collect their monies and to use it for more than just sending and doing farm work. And you know what? Contrary to what a lot of people have said that poor people will not return the loans. You know what? The Grameen Bank, the rate of return rate for their loans is 94%. And you know what? Today, Grameen Bank has been able to be established, not just in one branch, As of 2021, it has 2,568,000 branches. And you know what? That's not just it. That's not where Grameen Bank stops. The cumulative loan disbursement of Grameen Bank since inception is 33 billion US dollars. 33 billion US dollars. And you know what? These people, not just that they've visited one village or two village or three villages. No. Grameen Bank has been able to offer loans to more than 81,000 villages. And you know what? The number of borrowers who have used Grameen Bank, the number of borrowers who are in Grameen Bank today is more than 3 million members. Grameen Bank is not just, they call Muhammad Yunus banker to the poor. They call Grameen Bank a bank for the poor. But you know what? Today, Grameen Bank actually has more money than a lot of big banks. In fact, when you translate Grameen Bank into Nigeria, it is going to be richer than a lot of banks in Nigeria. It is going to be a unicorn. This is a bank for the poor. Now, some of the rules for Grameen Bank is that it is only the poorest of the poor that can borrow from it. Like the poorest of the poor, people who can use any other bank to borrow from. But you know what? It began in the mind of a professor. It began in the mind of a man who loved knowledge, who loved to read. Before coming back to the village, Muhammad Yunus had read about the world. He actually studied in the best universities that was possible in his world. And even while he was working at the bank, he was an absorber of knowledge. One of the things he firmly believes in is a regular training for his staffs. He does this like a religion. And today, he has changed the life of millions of people. Some estimate that Muhammad Yunus has been able to leave more than 10 million people out of poverty. Those are the estimates. For the life of one man, because one man pursued an idea, because one man pursued this whole initiative, this simple thing of providing small scale loan to people. He started with just 27,000 naira. But he has been able to help 10 million people to be lifted out of poverty. Friends, people, just think about it. 10 million people, their whole destiny were attached to this one man. What if Muhammad Yunus had not risen to the occasion? What if Muhammad Yunus had not prepared for this moment? What if Muhammad Yunus had not read the story of several other entrepreneurs who were forced to quit because life was rejecting them? What if Muhammad Yunus had gone back home and stopped trying to find a way to get a loan for people because the first bankers told him he was not going to get it? What if Muhammad Yunus has simply refused to go to the village? What if Muhammad Yunus has just become like every other professor and stayed back in the classroom? 10 million people, their life will be miserable. You know what, people? A lot of people are waiting on your greatness. A lot of people are waiting for your deployment. A lot of people are waiting for you to take action to make a difference. A lot of people are waiting for you to pursue that one single idea that will change everything for everyone. And you know what? Because you have attended this conference, because you have attended this session, I hope is that when you look back on your life, you're not going to regret. You're not going to say, I wish, why didn't I follow this? You're not going to have pains. You're not going to have anger at yourself. You're not going to look back with regret. I'm going to end with one story. The story of Jeff Bezos. So this guy was doing research on the internet. Not on the internet, he was doing research basically. And he found out that the internet was growing by 2,300%. And then he asked himself, what can he do on the internet that will give him money? And then he said he was going to start selling books. Yeah, I mean, the internet was doing a lot of things, but it was not selling books. And then he said, okay, he's going to pursue the idea. He went to his boss and told his boss, boss, I have this idea I want to pursue. I want to try this thing. The job he was working at that time was one of the highest paid job in the US, one of the highest paid. So the boss told him that the job, that what he wants to do is not for someone like him. What he wants to do is for someone who doesn't have a job. So he didn't pursue it. Jeff went back home and he said he asked himself a question. He said, when he's 80 years old, is he going to regret whether he started this thing or not? He said, when he's 80 years old, when he looks back on his life, is this going to be one of those things that he regrets not doing? And you know what? He said he realized it is true. If you look back on his life when he's 80, he's sure he's going to regret. He's sure that he's going to be in pain. And you know what he did? He pursued that idea. Ladies and gentlemen, that idea is Amazon. The net worth of Amazon
God is definitely bigger than Nigerian networks. Please give him a minute. I know you'll be back in shortly. Woof. Let me see in the comment section what you think about this story. Right now, okay, it's back. It's back. So we'll pick it up from there.
So
All
as we
right.
speak now, Amazon has over 2 million employees. 2 million people are having an employment because Jeff Bezos decided that he doesn't want to regret his life. There is a $1 trillion company. Amazon has produced billionaires. Jeff Bezos himself is a billionaire. His wife is a billionaire. His parents are billionaires. His parents are also rich. Maybe they're not billionaires yet. And her parents are also very rich because they pursued an idea. They chose to stop thinking. They chose to start acting, to pursue the idea, and to live it. So when you live here tonight, what's the idea in your heart? Deploy it. Stop wasting time. Stop thinking. Get into the field. Go into the arena and fight. This is time for action. This is time to make an impact. No excuses, no delays. Just get into the field and fight. Fight. So that when you're 80 years old, you have no regrets in your life. I'm not going to say I wish you the best. I wish you success. Yeah, I'm done. I don't know what Faye
Whoa.
has.
Whoa, 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 whoa. This is big. Wow, thank you so much, Lyndon, for sharing that with us. Right now, my head is full. I'm like, I know somehow the speakers today they decided that they will give me gas boost and me myself I must collect. Me the host though, they say I will collect, but God big past them, sha. But if I can get something from this, I'm sure that you also have gotten something from this. I actually want to know what you all think about this story. Somebody asked the question. Where is it? I know I saw something. Okay, Pamela says she's wondering how the 27K was distributed amongst those who needed it. Chief, are you there to answer that?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so
Okay.
let me explain. The value of currencies differ based on countries. And then, yeah, when I see 27, I'm actually using the currency today. It was actually $27, and this was back in the 90s. So it had more value. That's one. And then secondly, the money was used in. It wasn't for them to buy everything. It was for them to buy specific things that could spike their distance. For instance, it could be fertilizer. And these things are really not expensive in the deep villages. Yeah. Okay. So let me just give you an example. So I was in the village very recently, and one of my aunties wanted to keep pigs. And we asked for the pigs, how much the pigs were going to cost. She said each one is 10,000 naira, and two pigs, that's 20,000 naira. So do you see the impact of that? So if less than 27K could have given her to set up it would be her dream life. Yeah, so that's how the money was basically. I hope that explained the questions a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would respond that explains it. It's the way you said that it would be a big dream come true for one of your aunts if she gets less than 20K. And I know where that is coming from because of course we were there together
Oh,
and
I forgot we were together. I forgot. I totally forgot.
I truly do understand. I truly do
Yeah,
understand.
we're there with Faye. Yeah, in case you guys don't know. Yeah, Faye, we're in my village with Faye, and she met the auntie. Yeah, yeah. So she confirms the story. Actually, confirms the story. Though. Yeah, to make this easy.
All right. Thank you so much. Chief, don't go yet. I know some persons
Okay.
might have questions for you and Jonathan as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for questions. I'm here for questions. I'm ready to listen to them.
All right, everybody. If you have questions, kindly drop them in the comment section or raise your hand and I will allow you unmute yourself to ask. I was actually curious as to what this story did to the mind of many of you. So if you can hear me, I also want you to type out what this story did to you. For me, I have multiple ideas in my head that I actually was already thinking of letting go, but I don't think I will do that. I think I will just do it. Even if it is one person's life that gets transformed from doing that, I think it's worth it. So I would lay my hand on it. And I also have a story to share. I'm waiting for your questions in the comment section. Please kindly drop them. Let me go to Facebook and check as well. One good thing with, and I want to relate what Lendon said with what Jonathan said as well, which is that having the right people around you is very important. Now, Lendon told me to read Atomic Habits after I said, I think, okay, I can see Pamela's question, but let me go ahead. I would get back to that. So I told Lendo that, you know, this one, I want to, and this guy literally shut me up and said, Faye, look, every time you want to read Atomic Habits and I think two other books, the Defining Decade and I can't remember the Hallmark of Naval, right? Almanac. Yeah.
Almanac of Navarre.
Yes. The three books he recommended to me, but I found the love of my life in one book, Atomic Habit, and that changed my life. If you know me, of course, you know that Atomic Habit is the book. Atomic Habit is the book. And you see, it's just by having a conversation, having the right person in my community to tell me that, yeah, I think you should do this. And I did. You know, I had interaction with knowledge and I decided to put all of the ideas I have in my head to work. One idea that came to me after reading Atomic Habits is Read the Captain. And today we have 10 cohorts of Read the Captain and we have read with over 500% in, a year and a few months. And that's beautiful, really. You see, I've also had testimony of people who, I mean, one person from, I think, or two said that after she read with us, she literally had to get her children to do same, right? I had somebody who had a terminal disease, and I asked him why he was reading with us. He said, as long as he has life, he needs to know more to be a better person. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, you have few, well, thankfully he's still alive, but at the time he was, I mean, he had few months left, and the fact that he was able to read that book with us was just beautiful. So guys, please get to work. That idea that you have, put it to action. Interact with knowledge and interact with people, get mentorship, and act on whatever it is that you have. Now, let me take your questions. Okay, Pamela says she's curious to understand how she can work on a multi-talent. One book I will easily recommend to you is Your Problem is You Are Multi-Talented by Dr. Sam Ekundayo. It's a very good book that explains to you how to use your multi-talents. And one of the things he said in the book is that you need to take a stock of all your abilities, right? I think I shared that at the beginning of the conference. Take a stock of all your abilities, and then there are some tests you need to do to be able to ascertain what you should do with all of them. You remember the story I shared as well, where I said I actually asked people what they think I should be doing, and I came back more confused. And to be very honest, I actually prayed about it, and the story that came to my mind was the story of the parable of talent. The master actually gave all of his, or those servants, certain quantity of talent, and they were to use it. Now, God asked me a question. He said, what would the master have said to the one who was given 5 if he actually used 4? And my answer was, he probably would be getting about the same answer with the person who didn't use his 1 talent. I think you're supposed to use all of them. However, there is the major, there is the minor. There are dynamics to these things. I still do music, but I cannot come out and say I'm a musician, right? That is not my major. I do shoes as well, I do coaching as well. And I mean, on the scale that they are still there. I'm not going to let the minor become my major. I hope that answers your question, Pamela. But again, I strongly recommend that you read Your Problem is That You Are Multi-Talented by Dr. Samuel Kondayo. It's available on Amazon, and I think, what's this? Okada Books. Yeah. Okada Books, I think it should still be 1.5. I'm not sure. But you can get it from Amazon for about 3,000 naira. Very affordable. Okay. Another one I would recommend to you would be The Uncommon You. Yes, by one of our speakers, Jonathan Issa. Yes, very, very, very good book as well that will help you understand your uniqueness and what you should be doing. Okay, Gladys says there's something in. Okay. She was responding to my question on what your takeaway from the last session. Thank you everybody for joining MYE 3.0 day 1. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much. I hope that this is a beautiful session for you. Please confirm that to me. Let me know in the comment section if this was beautiful. Let me know if this was beautiful for you. Oh, somebody, okay. Dr. Nen, thank you so much for responding. Your problem is that you are multi-talented. Yes. All right. Thank you. Oh, Pamela, I can see that it was really a beautiful session for you. Well done, everybody. Thank you for staying through 2 hours. It's not been so, and that you have committed your time and tried as much as possible not to be distracted. I appreciate you for this. Before you go, I want to tell you that there's a post-conference workshop, and you know what? For before the year runs out, we're going to do it. And let me be honest with you, for the first 5 people who joined, and then for the 5 people who are stayed through till the end, we're actually watching. You know, Captain was watching. You get a free access to the workshop. Okay, and you have access to the Me Meet Me system. Both do it yourself and do it with us. Yes, I know you didn't see that coming. Oh yes, that's our gift to you. You know, it's a birthday gift. I cannot share cake to everybody, but I can give you that. All right, so we were watching, and we are glad that you have done this with us. We hope to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a very fantastic session. 5 panelists will come talk to us about the pivotal role of certain areas of life. In your becoming, do you want to know the importance of your partner, your lover in your becoming, or it doesn't matter? Let's know. We would also know what finance, what is the role of finance in your becoming, what's the role of your health, what's the role of your physical health is in your becoming, what is the role of your friends and social network. Beautiful people who have, lived out these things. We have a medical doctor, we have a relationship coach, we have a finance coach, we have someone who does friendship on a very, very high. His relationship game is high. Yeah, so we would have all of these people come, share with us these things. If you have questions for them, kindly send them to us. I'm sure you got a mail reminding you of today's section, so you can send it to that mail as well. If you have my contact, you can also send it to me. If not, I'm calling in right now, 08099744169. 08099744169. Okay, so you can send the messages to us, the questions to us, so that we can prepare to give you a beautiful answer tomorrow. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We would end it here tonight. Tell somebody to be here tomorrow. It's going to be a banger, I promise you. One of our speakers is actually here, Dr. Nen. She's going to take us. She will tell us the role of love and marriage in your becoming. I cannot wait. Hey, it's going to be your too. Ta ta ta. All right, please take care of yourself and do have a good night rest or good night, whatever. For me, I want to go and talk to man. Cheers. No. So you people were not seeing my face. Oh, you did see all my reaction. Anyway, cheers. Bye. Do take care of yourself.